Hey everyone, what I have here is a PS4 development kit. This is the first one, at least that I know about, that's in the wild, which means it's pretty rare. It's hard to find any information about these online. But so what a development kit is it's what developers would use to write games on it. And they have more ports on them, and they're a little bit faster, so that way you can test your game and get it actually working before you port it over to a retail console. But yeah, so you've got more USB ports here. These 8 LEDs are for debugging purposes within a game. I think this is just a dummy box here, and it doesn't do anything, that black box. But so then if we turn it around, we have various ports that a regular PS4 wouldn't have. We have dual Ethernet, more USB here, and then the hard drive would go here. And I'm not sure if it can have free hard drives. It looks like it has the bays for it, but I'm not sure about that. Now the exciting part where we actually get to turn it on and see what it does. So you can see that the menu, it looks a lot like a regular PS4. The only difference is that on the top left there, you have that box that tells you what firmware you have and your IP address. And then down here, that red error message means that my dev kit is expired. That means that's because it hasn't been activated with Sony, but I'll talk about that later. But if you go to settings here, these are all of the settings that a regular PS4 would have. But then if we go down here, we can go to the debug settings, and these are settings that only a dev kit would have. And admittedly, I don't understand all of what they mean, but there's some interesting stuff in there. Okay, let's go through and actually look at some of these options. So this is just network stuff here. Now, what is kind of interesting here is that you can set your own, like, fake PS Plus account. You can even change what button on your PS4 controller is the enter key, or the enter button. Okay, and so what activation is on this console, at least what I understand, is that Sony does not want these out in the general public's hands, and so to lock them down, they make them activate, or it has to phone home to Sony every 90 days, or you can activate it with a license key file via USB. So the system is not activated right now, which means that it can't do everything that a fully activated PS4 dev kit can do. Although I suspect the right person would probably be able to activate it. So if I try to start this app home program here, it's not gonna do anything. If I want to play a game on this dev kit, it'll load the game, and that blue light is to show that there is a Blu-ray disc in there, and it'll load it here. But what'll happen is that it'll want a more recent dev kit firmware to play the game. What I think the most interesting part about the dev kit is that there is this program called Neighborhood, and what this allows us to do, this was developed by Sony, and it lets you remote manage your dev kit. So if I was a developer, I could have 50 dev kits here, and I would be able to change the settings on all of them without having to run around the building. Okay, so let's see what it actually does. So if we go to console output right here, we can see everything that's happening with the dev kit in real time. Admittedly, I don't understand what all this means, but let's go through it anyways and look at it. Anyways. So if I try to activate the dev kit via neighborhood, what will happen is I can select the activation file here, and this is an activation file that got leaked online, but it's not going to work, and I'll show you what happens. So it just says activation file does not contain information for any selected targets, and that's because this file is for a different dev kit, or it could be for a test kit, but I'll show you what it looks like inside. So this is what it is, and it's a unique key for every PS4 that you have to get from Sony. So neighborhood lets you change all of the same settings that you would change on the PS4 using the controller. If you just go here, you get the same exact options that you would get on the dev kit, but here it would be a lot quicker to do it because you could use your keyboard. Right now you can see on it that there's really nothing installed. There's no games, there's no apps or anything. But if we go back to neighborhood here, we can actually install, you could install a game over this. So if we go to install here, we have to find the package file. That's like a Windows exe, but for a PS4. So I don't know, let's install Netflix. So we click open, and so now it's installing, and if you go over here, it's installed. But can't run it because of a firmware issue. And if I try to update, nothing will happen. But we can also see some interesting information about it right here. Okay, well that's it for neighborhood, but it even lets you turn on or off the system, which we'll do. And turns it off. Although it does take a second.